Hi, this is Janine Rusan, and welcome to my podcast, Own Your Own Authentic Power. Well, we're at the start of a new year, and I am ready to pour it in. That's the theme for today's podcast. Let's pour into ourselves and really focus on replenishing, renewing, restoring yourself to really encourage resilience for the times that we are in. You know the saying, when it rains, it pours? That saying is usually greeted negatively. However, I am pouring into myself and Black women to steady us for the journey forward. We have been through the rain and even some snowouts, and unfortunately, even some wildfires. In fact, circumstances poured hard last November, downright stormy. Instead of sheltering from this particular storm, I say, let's pour into us. Very distinctly, I'm particularly talking about Black women, Black men, and our Black families. My first focus is for Black women. Black women do so much and give so much for others. We give and give and give. That giving has two sides to it. The giving is generally authentic and done for the good of others. The other side of that is the giving often comes from us so plentiful, so encompassing, so full of the cause that at a certain point we are drained. And so now we need to pause, maybe shift focus from what we do for others, and this time pour into ourselves. As I was writing and preparing for this edition of my podcast, all around the country, it's been raining, it's been snowing, we've got wildfires, a lot of stormy conditions. We endured the anniversary of the 6th of January, this time more peaceful and dignified, presided over by an awesome Black woman. I am choosing to see and experience this moment as a moment of atonement and maybe even reparation. The hubbub of the holiday season is behind us. It's the first full week of the new year, 2025. Frolic and fun days have been spent. Resolutions have been pondered. And so now, with my shoulders upright and my head held high, onward it is. Let's embark on a way forward. With all that so many Black women put into the 2024 U.S. elections, the ultimate prize wasn't secured, but victory didn't completely elude. There were victories in the first time that two Black women are elected to the U.S. Senate and will be serving in the U.S. Senate, both elected by their constituents and both sworn in by the only woman of any ethnicity to serve as vice president. That's a victory to not overlook. What Senator Angela Also Brooks of Maryland and Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware will do in the next 6 years can indeed be as historic as their elections. And I can just imagine that for each of them, just knowing that they're not alone in their shared gender and ethnicity, it will provide strength for them to be a force in that governmental body. And while I completely disagree with him in just about every policy area, U.S. Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina has also made history as the longest serving Black senator in our country. Now, what will he do with that significance? Unfortunately, I have less faith in how that gets answered than I do in how Senator Alsobrooks and Senator Rochester will impact the country. Unfortunately, I have no faith in the productivity of Republicans in the U.S. Senate or the House of Representatives. Their weakness and cowardice was laid to bear during the 2024 election. Anything good that comes from the Republican majority in the Senate and the House of Representatives, and frankly the White House, will be a shock. There were victories at state levels across the country as a result of the elections, albeit not as many as we would truly think would be transformational. But there was enough to build on for state residents and political parties. So don't sleep on what happens at the state levels. It could really be huge for navigating the larger national scene. Okay, enough of the political picture. What I am thinking about a lot these days is the personal and developmental outlook for Black women in the present times. We will benefit from a breather off the day-to-day goings-on that we so intensely engaged in during the summer and autumn months of 2024. I suggest an agenda of quiet repose, times for reflecting, yet building us up. The causes of the country will likely beckon us soon enough, but we should restore our energy. Many years ago, Oprah pointed out some advice that's given each time we're on an airplane. Put your own oxygen mask on before you try to help someone else. I think a prescription of pouring into ourselves is therefore right now what we should do. That's what is in order. Now, I love to drink tea, and I think the process for making and drinking tea is one to consider. There is a calm that accompanies tea, even though it begins with hot boiling water. Well, now, isn't that a description of what happened in November 2024? Hot boiling water. The best way to make tea is to begin with fresh water. Makes sense to me. Boil it on the stove, not the microwave, or if you have an electric kettle or hot water boiler, use them for your tea. If you're boiling on the stove, when you see large bubbles rising to the surface, the water is hot enough to make your tea. And after the hot mess of those presidential elections, the water is definitely bubbling up to hot. Life, I think, is giving us the tea prescription. Now, you'll want to steep it for the appropriate time, depending on whether it's black tea, green tea, white tea, or an herbal tisane. Remove the tea leaves and preferably pour it into a glass or porcelain cup for a nice, clean taste. Taste tests have shown that the cleanest, crispest results for tea come with glass or porcelain cups. Just a note for you. Letting the tea steep is like marinating, waiting until the time is right for action, and allowing the elements to come together, as they always will, immersing yourself in respite until the situation or circumstances are ready for you to go onward. Just sitting for now until the tea is at its full strength, just like you. Until you're at your full strength. It's not wasted time. It's time preparing. It's time for shoring you up and being ready for what comes next. Now, there's several types of tea, just like there are several types of paths to refresh our bodies and minds to achieve balance and restock sustainable energy. Tea has medicinal benefits. That's been known for thousands of years. That might sound unrealistic if you haven't heard it before, but it's true. Black tea, oolong tea, green tea, white tea, and tisanes. Now, tisanes are commonly referred to as herbal teas, but technically they're not a tea because only leaves from the Camellia sinensis bush are teas. The herbal variations are more correctly called tisanes or infusions, since they don't actually use leaves from the Camellia sinensis bush. The thing about tea that I love, and that I think speaks to the present moment, is that tea both energizes the brain and relaxes the mind. Not too many products do both, at least not naturally. Peter Goji, president of the Tea Association of the United States, said, "It kind of triggers the body to be relaxed yet awake." I think that's perfect for where I am and where I think you could be to rebalance and be ready when the next work begins. Relaxed yet awake. Here are some of the health benefits of tea. It revs up your metabolism. It's anti-inflammatory. It can reduce the impact of certain chronic diseases. It's sustenance for your brain, since it can actually improve memory, concentration, and even your reaction time. It's hydrating in the same way as water, while not being a diuretic like coffee. And tea's polyphenols can help your gut health. Well, who wouldn't value all of those health benefits? Just to share a few more particulars, green tea is high in antioxidants. It can boost your metabolism. And some studies show that it reduces the risk of cancer and neurological disorders. Black tea also has antioxidants, and it can soothe intestinal distress and reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease. White tea can kill bacteria, viruses, and fungi in your body better than other teas. And the fluoride in it will strengthen your teeth, maybe help to prevent some cavities. Oolong tea is good for boosting your metabolism, helping with weight loss, healthy skin, and maybe even prevention of arthritis. Now, the herbal tisane infusions have less antioxidants, but certain herbs have their own benefit. Chamomile as a sleep aid, echinacea to combat the common cold, hibiscus to lower your blood pressure, and rooibos has been identified to have cancer-fighting properties. Whichever tea you sip, the experience can be just what you need right now. While you're sipping your tea, restore you, strengthen yourself, pour into who you are. Spend the time while you sip to evaluate your own behaviors, your actions that you have taken, what you need to do for yourself, rather than what you may think you want to do or need to do for others. Maybe now is the time to focus on loving yourself, really, really loving yourself, to love you enough that you take the best care of you. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future to do for others. This is your time. Pour to fill your own cup. Above the storm, the smallest prayer will still be heard. Some years ago, I picked up a little poetry book with a poem by Susan Squillace Florence. It was called Be All That You Are. And although it was published in 1988, I think it fits wonderfully for now. Be all that you are. The sun will find you, give you her warmth, and bless you with her golden touch as you awaken. The wind will call you as you gently bend and become open to the world that surrounds you. The soil will ground you. The water will nourish you. You have been planted here. The world is yours to enjoy, to expand, to go wherever you want. Life is the gift you have been given. Love is the blessing you can feel. It is all around, in the flowers, in the trees, in the meadows, on the mountaintops. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself some time to know who you are, to become all that you already are. Accept the gifts of the new day. Be a part of every person who says hello. We are all just hearts, alone and together, beating to the music inside, fulfilling our ambitions, finding our places in the wonder of the universe. More than to hope in yourself, may you believe in yourself. Take your own hand on your own journey. In the quiet, you will hear the voice of wisdom. In the stillness, you will realize your deepest dreams. And in your heart, you will know how deeply you are loved. Yeah, that poem says so much. This is the time to be all that you are, invigorated yet calm, relaxed yet awake. Get a cup, make your tea, simple and to be savored. You, strengthened and unruffled, spirited and ready to surge onward. I know that rest is a form of resistance. Every battle isn't fought on the battlefield, and every battle isn't yours to fight. Choose your tea and pour into yourself, the authentic you, the body and mind that comprise the you that others see and experience needs to be refilled, refueled, and reinforced. And when you begin again, maybe others will have taken up the mantle to build the needed framework, and you will start fresh with a calm heart and body, infused with new vitality for what lies ahead. So go ahead and pour into you. Thank you for listening. Always own your own power, and you will win.